Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of TekTalk with Sodhi. Well, it's not just another entrepreneurship show. Here, we don't just talk about innovations, we also talk about the journey, the sacrifices, and the untold stories behind the headline. Today, we are privileged to host Marc Lionel Gatto, a visionary entrepreneur with a global footprint from his role as a general coordinator at MyGlobalVillage. It's basically a platform dedicated to fostering innovation, collaboration, and knowledge sharing among entrepreneurs and investors worldwide. Now, this is a global platform, so due to his extensive experience as a CEO of MLG Events, Marc has been at the forefront of nurturing innovation and entrepreneurship on a global scale. Today, we will explore his journey and insights into the dynamic world of global innovation. Marc, welcome to TekTalk.
Welcome for having me, and it's a big honor for me to be one of your guests, Karandip.
No, it's completely our honor, Marc. It's always, a pleasure to speak with you. I know the last time we met physically was in Paris. I hope Paris is treating you well.
It is, and it's a crazy city right now because we are about to host the Olympics, and MyGlobalVillage will be very active during the Olympics, but maybe we'll talk about that later on.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, definitely. We'll dive deep into that as well. And I'm also very excited to come to Paris this year and have a jamming session with you. If anybody doesn't know, Marc has a brilliant piano at his house. He's got a drum set, a couple of guitars. And this is something that I was very excited to, notice when I did meet Marc.
Technology, but music is also another way very interesting to share culture and to create links. You're definitely right, Karandip.
Absolutely. This is something I really want to explore as well. But to really kick things off, Marc, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and about your journey? We're really curious to, hear your story here.
Well, it could be a long story, so I will try to make it short. But today, everything is in the name. MyGlobalVillage is a platform. It's a way to create link, to build bridge in a world that is, from my point of view, completely getting crazy, where we hear about wars and people and violence. And we, as entrepreneurs, we hate violence, because how do you want to create a business, to create value, to help people to go further with their health, their education, when there is no that? So from years right now, we have developed ways. At the period, we didn't call it collective intelligence, but that's what we are now doing. We are developing collective intelligence tool, platform, methodology, opportunity in a small world, in fact, because today you are in a certain part of the planet. I'm right now in Paris, in Europe. Tomorrow I will be in Africa, and that's it. So as the planet is getting smaller, as also climate change obliges us not to travel so much, how can we create trusted network all over the planet? And probably today that's what I'm doing, but that's what I've done probably all my life. So I started long ago in the tech environment. I've created in Europe a long time ago, that's previous centuries, the first e-commerce masters of Europe. It was the first one. I always spend my life in trying to spot out the best tech and to bring them from labs to firms, to small firms, to big firms, to small territories, to metropole. I have always tried. I don't know if I succeed. You will tell, Karandi. But yes, years after years, we have developed a trusted global network to help any entrepreneur, one what would be in a small city in India that has a brilliant ideas, but has not the relation, the money, the connection, the entrepreneur to make it grow enough to become an interesting business. That's what we are doing. And also, and I will stop after that, but what I've done after years and years is also come to the conclusion that there is no interesting business is behind the business. You don't have a meaning. You meet interesting people. You develop your own network of trust, of course, but also of source of culture. And so you in India India is not a country, it's a continent with so many cultures, so many people. But for the rest of the planet, this is somehow the same. And so making them easier in being everywhere where techno can be useful is what we're trying to do with MyGlobalVillage.
I absolutely agree with that, Marc. And I think it's commendable what you're trying to achieve here, because I do agree that what's happening in one part of the world in terms of innovation can be viable in other parts of the world as well. And maybe it's just the idea is of just not knowing and being aware about what the innovations are at certain part which have been successful actually can be, successful in other regions of the world as well. So I think it's a great value proposition here that you're trying to bring all these innovations on a global scale, get these entrepreneurs to meet each other and create this network. I think it's definitely of a lot of value what you're trying to build here. But I mean, if I really would try to kind of understand also, like, how do you navigate these cultural nuances and how do you adapt your approach to these different regions or markets?
Yeah, so in fact, it's quite easy. How do we do? It's true that we have started in the major event like the CES in Las Vegas, Web Summit, Mobile World Congress, that kind of event where all the planet is converging. So we started MyGlobalVillage, it was in Las Vegas, and we have discovered that every country, every big firm was going there, but they were acting in silos. It was not easy when you are, I was French, and it was very difficult to meet up the other French delegation. So we started in discovering that it was crazy, but there were not converging protocols, ways to do things together if our objective was to develop an international network. So how do we start? We just say, okay, instead of having your own soiree, your own party, your own pitching session with your ecosystem, it's much easier if everyone brings its best technologies, its best tech distributors, end users, investors. When you're French, it's not difficult to find French super tech, French super startups, French super investors. It's more difficult to connect with the German, with the Indian, with the American. And that's how we started. Let's use collective intelligence. If everyone can do a small job to bring its own ecosystem, and if we define on every event a spot where we can organize pitching session, networking session, but not poorly on the cool way, but just the same protocol everywhere on Earth all years long. So it all starts in Vegas, but then very quickly we move to the big events. So we, MyGlobalVillage now, can connect you, can welcome any ecosystem wants to do a collective intelligence on the major leading event on the planet, or in 4 continents. We are not strong enough right now in Oceania. Of course, Karandi, please help me with your audience to develop in Asia. We are strong in Japan. We are strong in Indonesia. We are strong in Taiwan right now, but not enough in all the Asian countries. So we are developing. But what you have to understand, it's very simple. When I'm going somewhere, I say to the rest of the community, I will be there. So if you're planning to go, bring your best tech, bring your best buyers, bring your best investors. I will bring mine. And so when you put the people that sell and buy technologies in the same room, you have nothing else to do. So we started to do it in the real life, but very quickly we move up to hybrid events where you can also say, okay, I will be there with super startups, but we will also, you can connect and from your country and try to establish connection, press a blue button to get the infos about this super startup, to be the first in your own country to import that technology, or if you want to invest. So that's quite simple. We had technology, but I should say that technology is not the problem. The problem is to build year after years trusted people. The 2 networks we have built up, the one that is called the Global Tech Flora network, the people that are spotting out like this tech. And the second one is called the TekTalk network, the one that can take this tech and make them soft land in their own ecosystem or country. That's what we are doing. And we are lucky because we are now on the major event on the planet, the Cannes Film Festival to sell for movies, the Olympics for SportX, the CES Tech in Paris, WebEx in Tokyo, and so on. And what is interesting is that if someone from your community is organizing event, he can say, hey, I have an event here in that region, in that place. I want to be connected with you. What can you do? At least we can remotely connect it, start to look at the tech, organize a webcast, and then go further to develop a relationship on the long run.
Yeah, I mean, the vision is amazing. Asia is a great market. I think there's so much potential, but Could you also share one of your experiences where understanding these cultural diversity played a pivotal role in the success of one of your ventures?
Yeah. When I started, I was somehow afraid. I've traveled and worked a lot all over the planet. And when I start to design my global village, I say, wow, how could we integrate diverse culture? But in the end, the more you travel, the more you learn that you can have diverse religion, political ideas, way to work, level of richness, or you can be not so rich and quite poor. But in the end, when you are cool, you have your open heart and you talk to anyone with simple rules. And the rules is show me what you got. You have good ideas. How can I help you to make much more business? So business is in the heart of the culture, but it's not only a business, it's not a fight. It's a way to hunt new clients, not country per country, culture by culture, but with the best one. You got something. Yes, it seems to be obviously an interesting solution, cheaper, more efficient than the one we got. Let's take it and then see how we can accelerate. And in fact, I have never had, to be honest, any problems of culture, because that's what is strong in the tech universe. Now, the problem is that tech is not good or bad. You got tech for both. Let's talk about AI, for instance. The same technologies can help to detect very quickly a disease or a cancer 100 times quicker than a man. But the same technology can be handled by a crazy man with drones. And we know that the same technology can be very dangerous. So my personal feeling is that when you are working in a trusted level, on the planetary level, with people that have already succeeded in their own business, their intention is always the same. They want the best for their children. They want the best for their lives. They want the best for the planet. You know what I mean? Depending on the way they have. So what we are trying to do is quite cool. We just say, okay, you can be anywhere on the planet with my global village. We won't do miracle, but we can very quickly connect you with the people. It will need years. You don't have even the money to fly to this global event. Don't worry. Jump on your webcam. We're going to have people on site, but they will listen to you. You will have 90 seconds, for instance, to convince that it can be interesting to go further. And that's what we are doing all years long. Or let's say with a quite level of success, but because there is no big difference between any country on earth, except the fact that they just want to be more successful. And I think it's another way. We started, traditional business model are most of the time top down. You invent something and you widespread. So my global village is also trying to develop a bottom up culture of, you're in your lab, you're in your small and medium sized firm, you got your startup. Of course, governments are doing very interesting things to help people to export, but that's not sufficient. I think that we entrepreneurs have also to develop our own network, to work closely with our trade agency. We are working with the major trade agency now on the planet. They are connected with my global village, but we entrepreneurs have a specific role. When a country or region is in peace, entrepreneurs are always active, and the population take the benefits of a profitable business. And when it's not the case, that's another problem. So it's our way to be more peaceful and more efficient.
No, we really thank you for that. But another question that just popped up in my head, was that in terms of the regulatory risk that might exist in terms of compliance across all of these different jurisdictions, how do you really mitigate those?
That's At that level, I should say we don't deal with it because it's starting at that level to be another problem. When you got a complex problems, the technologies we are accelerating all over the planet, it's true that you can have a health tech and turn into a weapon or something. But most of the time, when we are working on tech for cities, a health tech, even health tech or that kind of things. Wow, I got a problems. I don't know. Now, for instance, we are trying to accelerate tech against malaria, for instance. Who will be crazy enough to stop it because, of compliance? So for most of the technology, I think that good sense help us to go quickly. It's true that now we have some areas, regulation problem, compliance problem. In such a case, we should have stopped. We can go further. Let's see what we can do. But it's not the role of MyGlobalVillage. At that level of development is the role of legal, of big firms that wants to integrate that. And for instance, last week, I was in the Obsolescence World Congress. And it's true that when you get components, they can be used for peaceful activities and also for dangerous usage. So in such a case, we see that there are brokers that now able to be guaranteed and to certify that this technology won't go in a bad direction. So people, markets find solution when we are able to develop innovative enough to solve problem in another part of the planet or in another country. That's the philosophy. We are not so successful all the time, but the network is increasing. And if you give me the opportunity, I would like to remind to any of your audience that if they want to join, if they have the project, so if they want to accelerate a project, or in reverse, if they want to have access to the global basis of innovative project they could import in their country, please guys, let's become game changer in our community. Let's become tech exporter in our communities. That's definitely what we would love. And you, Karandip, if you're okay, I will hire you today to become the super tech explorer in your ecosystem and in your country, Karandip.
I would definitely love to be a part of this. I think when entrepreneurs and innovation is moving towards the same goal on a global scale, I think it can have such a massive impact on the ecosystem as well. And I would love to be a part of this. And
welcome on board. Huh?
Yeah, definitely. This is very exciting for me. Understand, and I would definitely promote all the listeners today that if you really want discussions and conversations around your technology that you've built out on a global scale, MyGlobalVillage is certainly one of the ways they can really go forward with. So this is very interesting for me to also learn more about MyGlobalVillage, how you're really, trying to transform, and create an impact in the startup ecosystem. But has there been any specific technological advancement that you've seen that you believe will have a transformative impact on the startup ecosystem amongst, all the innovation that you've seen till now?
Well, what I would say, the major appeal of innovation is not necessarily one specific tech or one specific solution. I think the big challenge we all have is now to organize a vision of many startups and traditional bigger tech on one single chain of value. We are now developing more than 300 collaborative innovation programs. For instance, I don't know, let's say, for instance, the room in the hospital of the future, the garage for the car of the future with electric and hydrogen, the mobility for small or medium-sized cities of the future. And so when you're thinking about a specific problem, what is, from my point of view, the bigger challenge is really to see how a new disruptive solution in the chain of value can be quickly integrated and how this will be a genuine evolution in comparison of the constant daily evolution of technology. So being able to hunt new market, new solution, new project, and to do it not necessarily country by country, region by region, but to have a cool and a global network. This is what we are trying to do. And yes, every day we are discovering things. And what is cool also is that we are not saying, let's think about it, let's do big speeches. No, let's try to sell it. If it's success, let's accelerate it. Oh, you've done that in Gujarat. Wow, here I am in this region of Europe. I wanted to be the first to expand it. So, you know what I mean? Thinking how not one single startup, one single big player could integrate a startup, but how on a global chain of value we can create new generation of solution and an innovative opportunity.
Right. I definitely agree with this. And I know that mentorship also plays such an important role in this. And you've been so close to these startups and entrepreneurs that you've been working with and, trying to help them connect with each other, connect these diverse ecosystems together. For our budding entrepreneurs at the end, they want to understand more as to what should they consider or what should they be careful about, or just in terms of taking their product global. What are the certain things that you've seen that is definitely needed for, entrepreneurs to consider and integrate into their startups?
From my point of view, there's a big difference between a web tech, the one that does not need to have human relation, retailer, reseller, and the rest of the tech. And when I say a tech, I should say also a product. So if you have a physical product or a tech that need to be integrated, the first and the one single rule you have to develop is a trusted network of partners. Trust is the major cause and the major solution of the problem. For web tech, I should say I won't give any advice because the global success of big players in the web tech, nothing has to be invented. You have just to copy the big success. Keep in mind that we are not American, we are not Chinese. Those two markets have developed really super technology to accelerate quickly with two diverse, completely different philosophy of accelerating, one totally supported by the money of the market, one totally supported by public states. I don't judge in any way, but they are better than the rest of the planet to accelerate their own plan of tech and to make them big enough then to conquer the world. So we, as a country, have to not to learn from that, but to develop a new way of collaborating between our countries to accelerate with one another. We in Europe are a smaller country, and Africa, you've got super entrepreneurs. I will be 10 years in Brazzaville in a very stunning meeting that is called ASEAN. And I know that African entrepreneurs are developing crazy things, but we in Europe, they in their country, in Africa, you'll tell me how it is in India and in the rest of Asia. But we do have a problem because it's not a harmonized way of accelerating. So, for instance, in Europe, when you're at France, if you want to develop in Italy, Germany, you have to speak other languages to have to develop. So if you don't have a trusted network, the time you develop your own technology, you will see a competition because copying a tech is quite quick right now. So taking a good ideas, sending them in the Chinese or an American market where they have a power to accelerate it to make become worldwide, we lose. So we have to learn to be quicker, to have people that will take the tech, say, okay, it's a good one. I can help you find and to develop also the way to reward everyone. We are not doing that. We are not an association. We have developed collective intelligence protocol, but behind the scene, we do have sharing revenue model. So what is can be considered as original in MyGlobalVillage is that our collective intelligence methodology is linked with a sharing revenue model. And that's the challenge we're trying to success, and we will. And thanks to anyone that would want to join to the experience, I say welcome on board.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. No, I completely agree because I've seen that every region has its own way of accelerating, of developing the technology. Like all the African entrepreneurs that I've been speaking with, they are coming with amazing products. They're coming with amazing technologies. They do understand what the market needs right now. But I also see the challenges that they have to face, which really slows down their pace of, acceleration. And that's mostly related to a lot of the investment scenario and the investment landscape in Africa, particularly. Now, if I go to Canada, great technologies, but then in terms of the government, with the investment strategies or investment laws, for getting outside investment. Any global investment is very stringent. It's very strict. So that does kind of limit them for the growth as well.
That's
US
what
and
the
China.
culture. Yeah, exactly. That's
Exactly.
You talk about culture, or you could have talked about regulation or the way of doing business, the mentality. In such a case, that's where the trust can explode all these barriers. Give me your product. Let me check if it's okay and let me do the job in my country, and let me explain how much money I will make if I sell it. So in fact, in the end, that's quite simple. Where it's starting to be very interesting is when we cross the best in class of every country and try to design, a global team, my global solution, in a specific problem. So that's what we call a collaborative innovation program or collaborative acceleration program. If we gather technology that are not so innovative, but they are performant enough, they are active enough to be widespread very quickly in many continents.
No, precisely. I absolutely agree with you. I think so many technology developments, so many technologies are coming up all over the world in different parts. I think it is about time that we have the power of networking. We have the power of events to really reach out to each other and develop something that would be very beneficial for every part of the world. Wherever you think that this could be beneficial for your country, for your ecosystem, I think you should integrate it. And how that happens is absolutely only through collaboration. So I do believe that MyGlobalVillage provides that whole foundation for founders and entrepreneurs to get together, for investors to get together to understand the kind of innovation and technological advancements that are happening all over the world. So thank you so much for that. Just the last question is just a final advice that you think you would like to give any entrepreneur through your own entrepreneurial journey, because I know building a global community is not an easy task.
One simple advice, I experience it every day. Believe me, the planet has never been so small. The planet has never been also so, for human being, so many dangers right now, climate change, war, and so on. So please, entrepreneur, if you have brilliant ideas, don't have any hesitation. Think globally. You will find very easy, thanks to MyGlobalVillage or any other way. No problem with that. You will find entrepreneurs like you that are waiting for you. They are ready to help you. I've met crazy, incredible billionaires among the Silicon Valley in Asia that have money, and they say, we want to help interesting entrepreneurs. So if you think your ideas is brilliant, if you have started to develop, think globally, and I'm sure that you will help you find the answer for the locals. That will be my last advice.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Marc, thank you. Honestly, thank you so much for sharing your story, for sharing what you're trying to achieve for the entrepreneurial world on a global scale. And I mean, I would really now, I know it was a short chat. I would love to meet you again and discuss more in detail. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity as well.
Let's organize a direct in the next show we will have, I don't know, in Tech for Movies, in Cannes, in the CS Vegas, and we'll make you a sign and maybe introduce some interesting entrepreneurs we are among the community currently. Thank you for what you're doing. It's a great job, and I'm really supporting what you do. Very, very
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Marc. Thank you so much for your kind words. It really means a lot. And as we draw the curtains on this insightful episode of Tech Talk, I really want to thank Marc for generously sharing his wealth of knowledge and experience in navigating the global startup landscape. From pioneering innovation to fostering sustainable network and embracing resilience, Marc's journey offers invaluable lessons. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Tech Talk with Sodhi. And as you reflect on the conversation we've had today, remember that the world of entrepreneurship is vast and it's ever evolving. Whether you're embarking on your own entrepreneurial journey or looking to scale your existing venture, I think MyGlobalVillage is definitely something to also consider to reach out on a global scale. So the link is going to be in the description. Do go check out the website, see what are the things they're working on. It'll be very exciting to understand and, integrate into your own startup as well. So until next time, keep innovating, stay curious, and keep talking tech. Thanks a lot.